Hey friends, in this episode, we're going to discuss how to stay warm and not to freeze in these freezing temperatures that we in now. Staying warm and surviving the RV life when the temperature drops below freezing. Stay tuned, everybody. You're going to enjoy this. When the temperature drops below freezing for a long amount of time, your RV systems are not going to work the same. No matter what you do, your pipes may freeze. Your pipes are run along these walls here. Inside of your rig may be warm, but these walls are exposed to the outer elements. So we're going to go over some tips and tricks. Ooh, the snow is blowing everywhere. We're going to go over some tips and tricks to help you get through this winter. Stay tuned, stay tuned. Now the water is going to freeze from the spigot hooked up to your rig. You may try a lot of things, but when the temperature drops way below the freezing point, we're talking about the teens, the single digits, the negatives, that water spigot is going to freeze because it's not built to sustain those conditions. So you may just want to turn that water spigot off. If you have heated hoses, you can leave the hose connected, but turn the spigot off just so that that spigot will not freeze and continue to throw water into your rig if it can get in and freeze up your pipes and break your pipes. Second, what I like to do is I like to drain my tanks when the weather's going to be low for a long period of time. So I will go under the rig here where the low point drains are, and I will open up my drains. I will always have a bucket to have the water spill into, and then I would put it down the drain and empty out my tanks. We still use our tanks, but I like to drain all the excess water out of there. It's not that much. Most of the water is going to be held in your hot water heater, but I would drain all of that out just so that we can have everything from. These rigs are built to self-contain, but in these low temperatures, you have to prepare. So it's not going to stay these freezing conditions for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. The temperature is going to raise back up, hopefully. So if you see this long stretch, maybe a week, maybe a couple of days that you're going to have this freezing temperature, you want to prepare. So what we do is we buy a portable toilet. We buy gallons of water. We buy extra things so that we don't have to use the systems to dispose of the water, because that's where things may freeze. So what we use is this 7-gallon portable water tote here. This thing, you can live off this for about a day or 2 days. We have several of these. We keep them in the garage of our RV, but you can live off of these. We also carry this wash basin. We have 2 of these, and we fill them with water and we sit them in our tub. We put one with dishwashing liquid and the other one with just fresh water, just so that we can clean our dishes. With the combination of both, you can go longer in the rig in the winter without damaging any of your system. We use another gallon of water. This is going to be a bucket of water that we put in the tub as well. This is for everyone to wash their hands after they use the bathroom. I know it's kind of disgusting, but this is the RV life. There's going to be times where you're not going to take a shower for a couple of days if you are boondocking. So this is just another way of boondocking and saving your tanks. So we fill this up with soapy water and we wash our hands with this. We also have baby wipes, hand sanitizer, but pulling this up and leave it in your rig, in the bathroom, in the tub, it's a good way to clean your hands. And it's really nice, and the water stays warm because it's gonna set to room temperature at your rig. You can fill it up with hot water or water that's at room temperature that you have stored, but eventually it's just gonna stay at room temperature, so it's not gonna be too cold. So in review, we have the 7-gallon water tote. We have gallons of water, and we also have like water bottles full with water that we use in these freezing conditions. We use this little wash basin. We have two of these. Fill one with soapy water, one with just regular water, and we leave these in the bathtub, and this is to wash dishes. We fill up another bucket with soapy water. This is to wash our hands whenever we need to wash our hands for anything. This is going over just the water part of surviving in the RV. There are several other aspects that we want to go over, but the water is the big thing that everyone has problems with the freezing. That's what I see in a lot of the forums. So I just wanted to address that. You know, we got to go back primitive, like primitive camping, empty out your tanks, and you won't have any problems when the weather comes back above freezing with your pipes being burst, your water heater being burst. Everything will be fine inside your rig. Keeping your rig warm is actually one of the easiest things to do in these RVs. But you have to use combination heating systems. Your rig is going to come with the furnace that's going to burn the propane to heat your rig. Some of the rigs come with also electric fireplaces. When you use a combination of the two, that will help keep your rig up to the desired temperature that you want. We usually have our rig at about 75, 80 degrees in these freezing temperatures, and that's using a combination heat. Now, location of the electric heaters is very important because just the furnace may not get your rig to where the temperature you want. So we place one electric heater on this side of the RV. The other electric heater is going to be all the way in the rear of the RV. One is facing this way, the other is facing this way. So the heat is going to meet each other in the middle just to keep everything in the RV warm. We cycle on and off the furnace just to save on the propane. But the heat is going to go all the way up just with the electric heater. The furnace is going to bring it up even more so it can get to that desired temperature that you want. We love to keep our RV at about 75, 80 degrees, just as I discussed, and that's what helps protect the tanks if you leave the water connected and running. You also have to remember to open up the cabinets to where you have your water pump, where you have the faucets, the pipes running. So that's going to be under your sink mainly. That's going to be in your bathroom, under your bathroom sink. You have to leave the bathroom door open as well, so the heat can go in there, can get into those pipes, and it can keep that water flowing if you decide to keep that the water running in your RV. Also, the furnace has to be run many times throughout the day and all throughout the night, because that's when the temperature drops even more, just to protect your piping in the underbelly. That's if you keep the water running. Another good thing to get the temperature skyrocketing high in these freezing conditions is to bake and cook inside your RV. I know a lot of people don't like to cook inside. I'm one of them. I like to cook outside, even in the winter. But when the weather drops, we'll cook inside. Well, my wife cooks all the time. I don't cook much of the time. But we cook inside the RV, and that helps to raise the temperature, especially if you're baking something. Like if you're baking a cake, a pie, cookies, pizza, anything that goes in that oven is going to raise that temperature dramatically in the RV because it's such a small space. So remember, use that stove inside of your RV to keep warm. It burns very little of that propane. The furnace is a continuous burn when you're running the heat to go through your rig. When you're cooking on that oven, it's a small continuous burn, but it's not for a long period of time. But let's say you're baking something and it takes 1 hour, that's going to raise your temperature in your RV about 10 or 15 degrees, maybe 20 degrees if you're using the electric heat. So remember, use that oven to help you to heat your rig. Bake something, cook something. You know, we like to use a kettle and we put it on the stove. That also generates heat. I love drinking tea in the cold weather, so I drink tea about 4, 5, 6 times a day. So that kettle is steadily burning on that stove. Even if you have an electric kettle, it's nearly doing the same thing, because once that water starts boiling, that steam comes out. So next we're going to talk about condensation, because that's another big thing going on with the RV community. So we're going to discuss that in the next segment. Condensation is another big thing that happens in the RV when you are heating up with the propane. The propane is a wet heat, so that's gonna throw vapors into the air. Us breathing creates condensation, so that's gonna throw little droplets into the air. If you have pets, they also breathe. That's gonna throw droplets. So to overcome that, you're gonna have to run a dehumidifier all the time in the winter. So, well, year round, because you're gonna have to do it in the summer as well. So what we do is we open the dehumidifier and we just let it run. The cabinets in our bedroom, we open them up and we let it run. The cabinets in the kids' room, we open them up. Now the cabinets under the faucets under the sink and the bathroom, we open those up just to let the heat go inside. So that's going to help with the condensation in that area as well. If you see mold building anywhere in your RV, that's an area where you may want to put the humidifier. You want that to hit that area just to prevent that mold from growing. Clean it up. You know, they have a lot of mold preventatives to clean that mold up. And you want to put that dehumidifier in that area where that mold buildup is there. They also have these a lot of other things that doesn't require electricity, and you can hang those up in the closets or wherever you have mold. And those things, a damp reed I think it's called, and those things pull the water out of the air, but you have to replace those a lot. So remember, you're always going to have something to deal with that condensation. Let's talk about power to your rig during a winter storm, during freezing temperatures. Let's say the power goes off in the campground that you're in. It's a power outage. It's very important for many RVs, or the whole RV community, to have a secondary source of power just in case this happens. Now, we have a lot of portable battery solar options, but in a winter storm when it's freezing, if you have solar on your the roof of your RV, it's not going to have enough power to get you through that storm. Those batteries are going to die because you're going to be running that furnace, you're going to be running those electric heaters. Those pull a lot of wattage, so they're not going to last very long. They can be used in combination with your generator because they would charge up your batteries. So a generator is needed in most of these conditions. If you have a generator, have gas, you power that bad boy up, you can charge all your portable devices, your portable batteries, everything that you have that you use with the when you're off grid. It would charge everything. Your furnace, everything will run just like as if you was in a campground. We use the generator from Champion. It's an inverter generator, 35/4000 running watts. It has a 30 amp plug. It's already in there. I don't have to use an adapter. And I plug this thing in here and everything on my rig works. Microwave, furnace, fridge, everything works. The power is continuous. We boondock with this thing many times in the winter when we're traveling and we're stopping in rest areas. But during the night, a lot of times places have regulations where they don't want you to use the generator. So in those cases, what do? I mean, in these extreme cases, I mean, I know people should take into consideration the freezing temperatures and you leave your generator on during the night. But let's say that you can't. This is where the portable batteries come into play. So if you have that Jackery, if you have that Bluetti, if you have that whatever portable battery you have, the lithium-ion batteries that store so much power, that's when those come in handy because then you can heat your rig and have entertainment in your rig as well while you are going through these freezing conditions. But having a generator is key. You can get the small ones. They don't cost that much. I mean, like $600 to $1,000. So it's an investment if you're going to live this RV life because it'll save you in those hot days and these freezing days that we are going through now. throughout the country. Here in the Northeast, whew, we get ready. It hit us late, but we in it now. It's been snowing here. You look at the forecast, it says it's not snowing. You come outside, it's snowing. I mean, it's little bits of snow that you can't see that much, but it's snowing. And in this area up in the mountains, it snows every day. Even when the forecast says it's not snowing, it's snowing. So these are the things that we do to keep. This is one thing that I wanted to go over, is that you have to cover your propane tanks. The cold weather, the wind, the snow, the ice, it will freeze your tank, it will freeze your lines, where the propane will not be able to go into your rig to give you that heat that you need with your furnace. So remember, you're gonna need to close this. I mean, not close it, you're gonna need to cover this so that it's protected from the elements. You can buy a bungee to hold it down. I mean, mine doesn't go anywhere, but you're gonna wanna have to have this cover on there so that you can protect it from the wind and the elements and prevent it from freezing. Hey guys, I want to thank you for watching, and remember, hit that subscribe button. We come with these videos every couple of days just to keep the RV community aware of ways to stay warm and entertain themselves throughout the winter and all seasons. Hit the like button if you really like it. I'm Ricky from the Smalls RV Adventures. See you later, everybody.